Hello and welcome to Ginny's Gin Livestream. I'm Ginny, and along with my husband Rob and our two dear friends Amy and Jeff Close, we founded Ginny's Gin a few years ago, and we started this live stream at the beginning of the shelter in place, the pandemic, and here we are still at it, still making cocktails and still enjoying Ginny's Gin. Let's see. Forgive me, we have just got back from a road trip and business, and so I still have my mask on and everything, and hopefully I've remembered everything, so we're sort of flying in, but I think we've got a good show for you tonight. So today I am going to, I think I mentioned last week that I am going to make a cocktail with the Buddha's Hand citron. And when I went to Alice's place, she has this amazing tree, and the Buddha's Hand, it can either be open like this, where the fingers, so you see all these different fingers, the fingers are open, or they can be closed. And you know, it's really funny because I was trying to put my finger on it, and these ones, when they're hanging on the tree, they sort of look really a bit sinister, and I was trying to figure out, why do I feel like this is sort of sinister? And you know what it is? Because it looks like the Grim Reaper's fingers, his hand.
It's his hand.
Yeah, I know, it's sort of really weird. Anyway, but it is my new favourite fruit, new favourite citrus, if you like. So when I brought them in, we put them on the table, and they just have this amazing fragrance. And I don't know if you've been in the grocery store and you smell this fabulous citrus smell, but it also has this sort of lavender aroma as well.
Floral.
So it's really cool. It's, you know, now the thing about the citron, the Buddha's hand even, is it doesn't have any juice or what do you call that stuff? Pips or anything.
Seeds.
So what you do is you use the zest. So one of the things I did is I used the Buddha's Hand, and I just infused the gin with it, and we can use that another time. But the cocktail I have today is sort of a three-step process. What I did first of all, one should note that the Buddha's Hand, it comes from South and East Asia, and Buddha has said that he prefers the citron that has the closed hands, because it looks as if you're in prayer. So he prefers the closed hand Buddha as opposed to the open hand. And it's supposed to bring health and happiness and good fortune. So it is used, I think, in China for a New Year's celebration. And God knows we need health and happiness and good fortune in 2021. So I'm all about it. So we're going to call this the good fortune cocktail. So what I started out with first is, if you don't have any juice or anything, you're going to use the zest or the peel to extract, you know, those wonderful flavors. So what you do first is you make an oleo sacrum, and this is basically, what it means is oil, sugar. It's actually, what you're doing is you're extracting the oil with the sugar. It's via a process of osmosis. So I took a Buddha's Hand, and I actually took a Meyer lemon as well, and I peeled the Meyer lemon too, put it in an airtight container, and then covered it with sugar, and then the sugar, sort of one-to-one, the sugar extracts all these amazing flavors, and that becomes your syrup, if you like. You know, you can make syrup in a hot way, but this is a cold extraction, so you leave it, in the fridge overnight, and the next day when you come in, you've got this wonderfully syrupy sugar that has all these amazing aromas, flavors from the Buddha's hand. So that's the first step, is to make the oleo sacrum. And you know, bartenders it's been quite a thing, I think, for using this. You know, but I had never done it before.
Well, yeah, because they used to throw away all the peels,
yes,
and only use the juice, and this was a way of figuring out how to use the peels and really get great flavor out of it.
Yeah, great way to use it.
You get all the essential oils out of the skin.
Yeah. I just love it. It's my new favourite, as I say. So after I've made the oleo sacrum, then I decided to make a shrub. But then I had sort of researched the shrubs and what have you, and shrubs have been around for forever. And shrub actually comes from the Arabic word to taste. And shrubs use vinegar, so it's usually 1 part sugar, 1 part vinegar, to one part of the fruit that you're using, or the zest in this case. And you can play with the ratios depending on how sweet you want it, or if you want the vinegar. And don't be afraid of the vinegar. So I used champagne vinegar. You can use, what's the other one? The apple cider vinegar as well. But it's really fun to play around with it. So I took, once I had strained yes. Once I had strained, so remember in the fridge I've got the zest and the sugar. You strain out the zest, you don't need that anymore, it's done its job, and you're left with the sugary part. And once you know how much sugar you're left with, then you can add in to that the champagne vinegar, or whatever vinegar you're using. Usually 1 part to 1 part will do it. But again, try to taste. I would add a little, taste it, add a little more. And the thing about the shrub is that it sort of brings a whole other complexity, if you like, to the cocktail. You've got the wonderful citrus, that from the zest and what have you. The vinegar, it just gives it some more depth, if you like. And as it happens, a shrub is very healthy. So shrubs have been used, for millennia. They use them in the colonial America. I mean, we had them in England. They were actually served in the public houses as well. Vinegar is a way of preserving. So you put your vinegar with the fruit, it preserves the fruit. In colonial America, on a very, very hot day, if you're working in the fields, a shrub would be something that you would drink. It's very, very refreshing. Obviously, it wouldn't have the liquor part of it, the spirits part, but you can add a little club soda to it or what have you. So your shrub can just be a non-alcoholic drink, or obviously if you bring in the Ginny's gin, it becomes a wonderful cocktail. So shrubs have been around for a long time, and I think they also used it in the British Navy, because of the scurvy and what have you. It was another way. Adding the vinegar to the citrus was another way to preserve it. They were at sea for a long time, obviously, so there's quite a good history with the shrub, and it's worth looking up. It's kind of fun. Okay, so once you've actually extracted using the sugar, then you add in your champagne vinegar. I added in a little bit of Maya lemon juice as well, and I've got my shrub, and there it is, zesty. I've got that little bit of vinegar as well. It's a beautiful colour, perfect colour, obviously, for the Ginny's gin colours. So then I was like, okay, here I am with this fabulous shrub. What's the best cocktail for it? So I turned to Joel Feifel, and he is the lead bartender up at the Sky and Vine, which is on the top of the Archer Hotel in Napa. And they are actually still open, so it's completely open air. So they've been allowed to open. I think it's probably because they're part of the hotel, I'm not sure. So if you haven't been and you live locally, that's a great place to go. You have amazing views all across Napa Valley, and I believe at the moment they're the only rooftop bar in the Napa Valley, I think, and maybe even in Sonoma, I'm not sure. But anyway, his bar crew, they are incredible, and I'm so happy for them that they're still working because they're still open. So he suggested, I explained to him how I made the shrub and what was in it. He suggested that I make a gin fizz with a little thyme. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And we're actually going to do a reverse dry shake. So this is very technical for me. You know me, I like to do the easy ones and Rob's the technical one. But I'm going to explain what a reverse dry shake is in a moment. But let's get some ingredients in the jar and go from there. All right, so the first thing is I'm going to double it because, as I've mentioned before, so this is a Tom Collins glass, but it can also be a Fizz glass as well. What's nice about a Fizz glass is it has tall sides, so that because the foam is kind of the lead player, and you want to really see the foam as well. So I'm going to use this nice tall one, but it is quite large and therefore holds quite a bit. So I'm actually doubling the recipe. It depends what your glassware looks like.
And how much gin you can drink.
Yeah, and it's Friday. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 ounces of Ginny's gin as opposed to 2. There we go. And yeah, if you're in the grocery store, in the produce department, go and look out and see if you can see the Buddha's hands. You'll smell them before you see them, I'm sure. But they're really very cool. Oh, and the thing I did learn also is that because of the wonderful smell, in China they are used, actually all over Asia I think, they are used as a room, what do you call it, to make it smell nice?
Fragrance.
A room fragrance. And then they would also use it to for their clothes as well. So there goes the time.
Keep it smelling fresh.
Yeah, keeps everything smelling fresh. I think I should put it down in the boys' room. They should each have a Buddha's hand in their room. Okay, so 4 ounces of Ginny's gin. And then my Buddha's hand citron shrub. I'm going to do 2 ounces of that. There we go. 2 ounces of the shrub. You know, and I didn't make it as sweet as some people might, but it's really up to you. But it just extracts this incredible, wonderful, wonderful lemon flavour. Okay, so 2 ounces of the shrub. And you can keep a shrub, you know, in the fridge in an airtight container for a really long time. I think like 6 months or something like that. But, you know, it's not going to last 6 months in this household, obviously. And then an egg white. There we go. And then I'm going to throw a little thyme in there as well, because we're going to shake that in. We use the large egg white, so
that's a big one.
It's a big one. So
that's an ounce and a half.
Yeah, so it's perfect for the fact that I'm doing, you know, a double the recipe, if you like. So here's the thing about shaking. So you can just put the ice in there and shake it up, and then strain it into your glass, and it'll get frothy. And then the other thing you can do is you can shake it without ice first, and then shake again with ice. But what Joel told me is that the best way to get the best foam is the reverse dry shake. So what we're going to do is we're going to shake it with ice first, then strain out the ice and shake it again with the dry shake, and that gets, so I then of course I had to go and research that, and there was one website where it showed you the 3 different ways of doing it, and the best foam that you get is when you do the reverse dry shake. Rob is shaking. So
I'm like,
okay, well we're gonna see.
No, you would have to.
And that's what you know, I mean, it's a term that I've heard from lots of bartenders. So, and they say you're supposed to do the reverse dry shake. Anyway, so I am going to shake it with ice first, and then I'm going to strain out the ice and shake it again. Okay, so let's see. It's a good experiment.
That's right, you shake it dry, and then you do with ice.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my God. Next week we'll be trying them side by side. You know,
Okay.
and don't leave. I've got a really cool drink too, so don't leave us. I don't have Buddha's hand, but I do have Buddha belly.
Very good, Rob.
Thank you.
I think we all have a Buddha belly at this point.
Pretty much.
I'm just looking at the sunset. It's absolutely stunning out there. Okay, so this is shaking with ice. And now I'm going to strain it and do a dry shake second. There we go. I know how to keep one of them. Okay, so there's that. And now we're going to shake again. Okay. Sing a song, Rob. Okay. Nearly there.
Shake, shake, shake
The
your
thing-
booty.
The thing about a shrub is you want it, you know, to be sort of tart, but you don't want to get the enamel off your teeth either. So, okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, so now, normally, so the best way to do this, I know I've told you before, is to put it obviously in a metal shaker that's been in the freezer, because you really want this to be nice and cold. But I'm doing this for those of us that, you know, for those of you that don't have shakers, you can do it in a jar too. All right, so now I'm going to take my Tom Collins glass or Fizz glass. You could even put it actually in a rocks glass. Fill it with ice. I'm actually going to do the smaller one. Oh yeah, are those? No, this one. Yes, I'm going to do the smaller one. And that's good. All right, there it is. Let's see now. So we're going to strain that into. Actually, I don't need to strain it because I already strained it. That's the other beauty of the reverse dry shake. Okay, so that goes in here. Ooh, yeah, like that. And I'm going to go to about there. soda, which I have already opened because oftentimes it goes everywhere. And just a little club soda on top. Look at that, Fizz. Yeah. Check it out. I'll do a little more, actually. You think I can put that rest in there? There. And, you know, it's all about the foam and everything. And because I love this so much and the aroma is so incredible, I am going to do a little zest on the top from the Buddha's hand. And the nice thing about this too is, so oftentimes the bartenders will give you, they'll put a little bit of, what do you call it?
Bitters.
Bitters on top, because the egg for some people, that it may have a little bit of aroma that, you know, they don't love necessarily.
Yep.
There we go. And so the zest will...
And when you zest on top of a drink with a Buddha's hand, you're giving somebody the finger, basically.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, that would be for a bartender that doesn't like... Okay, there we go. Look how pretty that is. It's like meringue. Okay, so this is the Buddha's hand gin fizz with the Buddha's hand shrub. And Rob now is going to take it away with, I believe, a bee's knees version. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, excellent.
Cool. Super easy and quick.
Cool.
Hi. Okay, I'm going to do something really quick and easy. And bee's knees is basically lemon juice gin. Simple. Instead of simple syrup, it's honey syrup. And the classic bee's knees is chilled and strained into a coupe. I saw somewhere, and I don't really even remember where, I've seen it a couple times, where people use the little bear honey jar as their glass, and I think it's so cute that I decided to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bee's knees, but I'm going to make it kind of like a Tom's Collins and use this as the glass. So I've already put the ice inside, a little slice of orange, because orange goes great with honey and lemon. Mm-hmm. And it's classic for Tom Collins. So this is kind of like a Tom Collins version of a bee's knees. The other thing is that bee's knees is usually 1 3/4 ounces of gin, 3/4 of an ounce of honey syrup, and only a 1/2 ounce lemon. And I find that to be a little heavy and kind of it's just too sweet and not sour enough. So I'm going to do our normal 2 ounce portion, but I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to do more lemon and less honey syrup. So my nice dull knife there. I grabbed the wrong one, clearly. Okay. So I got my shaker.
And the shaker straight out of the freezer.
Yep. And I'm going to do 1 ounce of lemon. So there we go. About a 1/2 ounce per lemon is pretty normal. So I could have just done a whole lemon, but it's good to measure. That ends up being exactly a 1 ounce lemon, which is cool. And then we're going to do 2 ounces of gin. So 1 and, yep, 2. We're going to take our honey syrup, which is just half honey and half water. And I'm just going to shook it really good to get it to all be the same. And we're going to go, so we had 1 ounce of lemon, we're going to do 3/4 an ounce of honey syrup. And honey syrup is not as sweet as simple syrup. If this was simple syrup, I'd be maybe just a little over a 1/2 ounce. So there's our 3/4 of an ounce. So that's all the ingredients for the cocktail. Having said that, I'm going to do a reverse trick. No, I'm kidding. All right, so I'm just going to give it a little shake to get it all mixed up together. And then I like to use homemade club soda out of distilled water that we carbonated. And we're just going to slide a little, maybe about 1 ounce of that down into the bottom of the glass. Yep. And then we're going to go right in that little opening. And we're going to get our drink in there. Come on, baby. Okay. Give them a little shake.
Yeah, that's cute.
And there's our straw. And this is our, it's bee's knees. And we could have just taken that drink, poured it into a chilled coupe with no ice in it, but I kind of like it as the Tom
With the
Collins
bear.
little guy with a little cute bear.
That's awesome.
Yep.
You should have done a double portion, honey.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Wow.
what?
Okay. There you go. Now it's full. Okay. Right up to the bear's nose.
There you go.
Anyway, that's my drink. Super easy.
Oh my god, look at the
Super
sunset.
tasty.
I forgot to say that the Arabic word for shrub is actually sharab. So that's where the shrub comes from, sorry. It's not just a word.
That's it?
Okay, cool. All right, 2021, here we are. To
Cheers, man.
the new year and everything, and wish you all well and happy drinking. Make sure that it's Ginny's gin that you're drinking, and we will see you next week. I've got more bounty from friends. This next week I have a couple of things that have come from friends' gardens. So cheers. How is it? Is it good?
It's good. I could have even done a little less on the honey syrup, actually. But yeah, good.
I love the shrub in there. It's really good and so healthy too. Okay.
Yep.
Cheers, guys. See you next week. All right.
The honey character is kind of strong.